Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It's your Wednesday night uncensored, unfiltered, and unafraid sports show. You still up? This episode of Buffalo After Dark starts now. Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, April 26th. And of course, you may be noticing someone here that's not been with us for a while, but it's actually, last time we saw him was here on season 1. He decides to come back on episode 130. So welcome back, Rob Hazu.
Feels great to be back.
Yeah, so. Yeah,
what's going on, Rob?
Oh, you know, same old.
You're still rocking the Devil's hat, I see.
Oh, yes, obviously.
Yep. And I'm rocking the goat head like normal.
Yeah.
And I actually just got this today in the mail out of eBay. So now I have the old one and I have the new goat heads in my collection. So all I have to do now is just find the butter knife jerseys, the reverse retro, and the red, and I should be fine.
Perfect.
Sweet. Well, it's nice to have you back. It's been a while. So, and of course, we got you going forward. And then, Bob, how's your week been going?
Same as everybody else. I have a splitting headache from work, being in the sun, working hard, and allergies has been kicking my ass, so I had to take some allergy relief earlier today, and I had a spaz attack at work with sneezing, and it was a huge pain in the ass, but I pushed through throughout the day.
I got you. Well, of course, you guys know the deal. If you want to call us, you can give us a shout, 929-205-6099. Give us some love to Rob here. He's actually back, and then Adam's going to be on a little bit. So, of course, we got the Facebook Live up and running as well. But biggest thing we want to talk about, the NHL playoffs, because we have actually seen some old school hockey for a change. And, of course, one of the big matchups, Rob's here about it. The Devils versus the Rangers.
Yeah, what a series that's been.
Yeah, so apparently, for those who don't know about you, apparently you grew up in New Jersey as a Devils fan, right?
Yes, my first game was in 2000.
There you go. So
it was actually a playoff game, oddly enough.
Yeah, and oddly enough, too, there's also a rumor going around that you went to Madison Square Garden just a few nights ago for Game 3 at the Garden.
Yes, I was in attendance for Game 3, VIP suite seats.
Oh, my God, that's awesome. How was the experience?
My dad and I lucked out with that. All thanks to a friend of the family.
Nice. I was going to say, the seats, do they have you up on those sky bridges or whatever that they've got over there, or they have you like in a different spot?
Yeah, it's like kind of a different spot. You take a separate escalator or elevator when you get into MSG.
Nice.
Yeah, and were you sitting with Ranger fans throughout that game?
Oh yeah, for sure. Not everyone in there were Devils fans.
Wait, don't tell me you were the only people in your entire suite to be wearing a Devils jersey.
No, there was 2 others, thankfully. So I wasn't alone.
Could you imagine if the Rangers won that game and you would have probably got hackled all night? It would have been like, Devils suck, or something.
Oh yeah,
like
thankfully it's tame in the suite area, but once you get out of there, it's like a war zone.
Yeah, I actually went to the luxury suites like 10, 12 years ago at Madison Square Garden for a Ranger game in the regular season against Calgary, because I got invited to go with an old friend I used to hang out with, and his dad worked for a big corporate company at the time, and we were fortunate to get luxury suite tickets to a regular season game with the Rangers against the Calgary Flames. And I think, and at that time, Jerome McGinley and I believe Mika Kiprusoff were on the team at that point.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's how long ago I'm going back as far as, the Calgary Flames are going. And I think this was like the earlier years of Mark Giordano when he was on the Flames, before he was captain and all that stuff.
It's probably mid-2000s.
Somewhere like that. Yeah, maybe like late 2000s, early 2010s-ish, I want to say.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, because Calgary had some pretty decent teams at that point when Jerome McGinley was there. So that's that. But I'm glad, though, you had fun at the Ranger game. So And I'm going to assume you had season tickets at one point in your life.
Yeah, actually, this was my first year not having season tickets
Oh, really?
since 2017.
Oh, wow. So 6 years, really, since you've had season tickets for the Devils.
Yep.
Mm.
And the only reason why I stopped is because just because of work.
Gotcha.
You know,
Fair
being short-staffed, I missed a lot of games last year.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But you
And
know,
I also thought I was gonna be moving to Tampa. I feel like I've been saying that for years now.
Yeah, I
but-
remember
it
hearing
feels
about
that
that.
it feels that way because you always say it, but then it actually doesn't come into reality. And then you're like, shit, I'm stuck in Jersey.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. We'll see. I might be moving to Pittsburgh at some point, not too long
Oh,
from now.
nice.
So that's one thing. Me and the girlfriend are looking at that. So who knows? But it might happen. We'll see.
Yep. And I got a big freaking, I don't know if you guys can see it on my eye socket. I have a huge sunburn across my face because I wear sunglasses all the time when I'm at work. So it burns through my skin. And now I have these big permanent like skin marks through my eyes.
I was gonna say, do you throw any sunblock on, dude?
You know what? I always get told to, but I forget.
Gotcha.
Okay.
It happens.
I get recommended to do, but I always forget to. And I know people say, "Oh, that's not good for your skin." I'm like, "Well, I forgot," but I do tend to put it on in the summer when it gets a little hotter.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Ooh, a little bit of aloe vera will help that, man. But
Yeah.
anyways, just to kind of recap tonight. So we've got two games on the board for tonight. It's the Panthers and the Bruins, which the Bruins just tied it up 1-1, and then the Kraken and the Avalanche are the late game. And I'll start off by saying, good luck to the Panthers. You're gonna need it because Boston's just smoking you in this series.
Well, not really in Boston per se, but the Panthers sucked at home, and the Bruins are just arguably the best team in the league, or if not the best team in the league, and they're just steamrolling their way possibly to a cup, especially if they win tonight.
And that's even with some players out too.
Yeah, I think like David Krejci is out or something like that. Apparently, I heard before game one, there was supposedly a rumor going around saying the Bruins weren't allowed to activate David Krejci because of their financial cap or something like that, because it put them over the cap or something, or some kind of like signing bonus casualty in his contract. Apparently, that's what I've heard. I don't know for a fact, but that was a rumor I heard going into game one.
Okay, so it's kind of like Toronto with their goalie situation, but they got that figured out, obviously.
Well, Toronto's a dumpster fire. We know that, though.
Yeah, and here's hoping they somehow choke this lead.
I have a feeling they're going to. I truly do. I have a feeling they're going to choke this game away tomorrow against Tampa. And I know that Tampa is not the same team as they were when they won all those cups, but their depth is just like huge.
Yeah, just defensively, they're not the same at all.
Right. And I was gonna say, it's like for Toronto to be down the way they were and then to come back and just like blow out Tampa is just absolutely crazy, because now it's like a 3-1 series lead. Toronto actually has the opportunity to win the series and get out of the first round for the first time in God knows how long. And I'm like thinking about it. Yeah. And I'm like, Tampa, what are you doing? But I will say, though, I mean, we did get to see Austin Matthews and Steven Stamkos drop the gloves and beat the hell out of each other, so that was at least a plus.
Oh, yeah, that was entertaining.
That's great. Except Matthews hasn't learned how to fight yet.
Well, I mean, he doesn't really fight, but to see him go up against Steven Stamkos was just surprising.
Oh, yeah, that was very unexpected.
Right. And Stamkos doesn't drop the gloves often either, so.
No, not at all.
No, but I think Stamkos gets hurt more often than he does fight. So I think that's a pretty common ground.
Oh, yeah. I remember when he had that broken leg for like a year and a half. So,
yeah, I think that was against Boston when he broke that leg. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but
I think so as well.
Yeah, but it was interesting because it seems like a lot of what's happened is when Vasilevsky has been letting in those goals, it just seems like the tip. And this is actually something Adam mentioned. If you can tip it, you're fine. But if you're taking like a squared up shot against Vasilevsky, he's going to stop it all day, every day.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, Vasilevsky is just a special goalie, but he does have his moments like every other NHL goalie does. But I mean, I don't expect the Tampa Bay Lightning to just come straight down, go down without a fight. There's just not a chance. And usually, whenever Vasi is in the brink of elimination, and this is every year since then when Tampa was down 3-1 last year against Toronto, and they stormed right back and they won 3 straight games and they went all the way to the finals and et cetera, et cetera. They've done this in the past. So it's almost like they're just manipulating the Leafs with this sense of security. Like, okay, the Leafs have the series, and then they just completely just come right back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, Tampa can absolutely come back. I mean, but they absolutely have to get it going tomorrow night because there is no other chance after that. But I mean, still, they played really well, especially the first game. So they have the ability to do it. But one of the series I'm really finding interesting right now, though, and this is something where if Andy comes on later, I know he's not thrilled about Colorado right now, but Colorado and Seattle. And I will say Seattle is really showing that they can hang in there with the big dogs. And even just watching them last night, and seeing how they've been able to play. Of course, Colorado is going to be down on their defensemen because of the suspension. Also, they have some injuries, and plus with Landeskog being hurt and several key players being hurt, it's something where it's going to be a tougher series than what probably a lot of people thought. But I have to say, though, Geeky's been playing great for Seattle. Grubauer has been playing great. And Seattle's defensive pairings have really been showing up, and they've been very tough to get the puck in, and especially with the neutral zone. So they're doing everything that they can, and good for Seattle too. And quite honestly, I would love to see a game there in person at some point.
Where in Seattle?
Yeah.
Well, 2024 is a possibility because the Bills are playing the Seahawks, and we might be taking a trip to Seattle.
Right. No, I'm talking about the Kraken also.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm saying is if the Kraken have a home game at that time frame when we go, possibly, it's there for the taking, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, true. But props to Seattle, though. I mean, that team for its second year, they've become a very tough team out west, and hopefully they keep it up.
Yeah, I would love to see them continue this success.
Why? Because they're gonna jump all over the Sharks in the next decade.
Probably.
Well, yeah, I think almost any team will at this point. Sharks are old as hell.
Thanks, Wilson.
They didn't manage their salary cap right at all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and thanks for JJ Peterka, by the way.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Will Borgen's playing well for Seattle right now. I'm like, damn, I wish we still had him.
You know what, though? I will say that the unsung hero for Seattle in the series has honestly been freaking Brandon Tanev. That blow, the kiss in game 2.
Oh, yeah.
Lost that game. He's also been very gritty, and I love that about him, is that he finishes his forechecks, he scores goals, he plays a solid defensive two-way game. He's a really good player, and I like what Brandon Tanev brings to the table for Seattle ever since he was exposed.
Yeah, he's willing to go in there and do the dirty work, and that's exactly what you want, especially when it comes to the playoffs. You got to be able to take the hits, you got to be able to give the hits, and you got to be able to drop the gloves and beat the hell out of somebody sometimes, and he's doing it.
I think so. Seattle's they don't also have any like key superstar players. Like Jordan Everly was supposed to go to the All-Star game, but he got injured the year before, or someone on the Kraken was supposed to go, but they got injured, so there was no representation of them in the All-Star game this year. I think it was supposed to be Matty Beniers, but he didn't go to the All-Star game, but he's been phenomenal too. I will say that.
Yeah, especially I remember Beniers in game 3, he ended up getting a pretty solid goal when he needed it. So, Beniers has been playing well. Of course, you have Vince Dunn on the defense. He's been a solid player for a long time. So you have him. You already mentioned Tanev, so that's a good thing. We already mentioned Geeky. Borgen's been playing well. Of course, he's an ex-Sabre, which I would have loved to keep him here, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But then you have Bjorkstrand out there too, and same thing. He's playing well. So they've got a very nice roster that they've been able to put together, especially through this past offseason. So they're in good shape. And of course, Yanni Gord had a good night the other night.
Oh yeah, freaking
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I actually
Miss him
forgot
in
Yanni Gord.
Tampa.
I forgot that Yanni Gord was on the Lightning. I actually forgot about that. Or no, I'm sorry. I forgot that he was on the Kraken. That's right.
Seattle.
Yeah, I meant to say Seattle, not Tampa.
Yeah, but no, I mean that's a good series. And then another series we'll even talk about, since we're talking about the playoffs right now. How about Minnesota and Dallas? Them two teams are killing each other.
Well, I did predict it to go 7, so I'm almost correct on that. But if Minnesota evens it and it goes 7 and they win it, I hit that series with a home run.
I forget if I had 6 or 7 in that series.
For who? Dallas?
Yeah.
What I will say though is Jake Oninger has been playing out of his mind.
He really has.
And you know what? Knowing Pete DeBoer for what he's done with the Devils and with the Sharks in the past, I would not be shocked one bit if the Dallas Stars make the Stanley Cup Finals.
Again.
Yeah. Well, he's got that trap defense. He's very good at running it.
He sure loves that.
Yeah. And if you take a look at the Stars roster in general, they got some damn good players. Joe Pavelski, Nick Robertson, Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin. Who else does Dallas have? Rupert Hintz. He's a good player. Mm-hmm. And then on the defensive core, they have Miro Heiskanen. They had, well, I was going to say Jamie Alexak, but I forgot he got exposed by Seattle. No, but they also have Mason Marchman. They have him. So Dallas as a whole is a pretty damn good team. I will say that.
Yeah. We'll just have to see how Pavelski does after that injury.
Yeah, they are getting him back, which is good.
Well, he's also like 40.
Big help.
Well, he's also like 40, so we'll see what happens.
Well, it's like the Sharks with Joe Thornton, and somehow he's still around.
Yep.
He came back after they got rid of him because of the salary.
Mm-hmm.
I did have Dallas in 6. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I have Minnesota.
Yeah, I think I had Dallas in 7, but.
Well, how about the Islanders and the Hurricanes? That series has been.
Ooh.
Yeah. I told you the Islanders, don't sleep on them.
That defense, man.
For those of you who don't know, the Islanders are my second team, but don't count out the Islanders, man. I'm telling you, they're going to be a good team for a while, and they're one of those teams that I'll tell you a quick story, and I actually saw this today. Is the Carolina Hurricanes actually posted an advertisement that said, "Get your pre-sale tickets for round 2 playoff tickets from the Carolina Hurricanes website."
Oh, no.
That's a kiss of death right there.
You know what? Let me actually.
Got death wish or something?
Death wish. Because look at this. Let me see if I can take this picture off, because usually when I show my phone onto the screen, it blurs it out. There we go. Look at this shit. There it is. This is the post right here. And it says, tickets on sale from Ticketmaster.com. And I screenshotted this from Isles Fanatic on Instagram. And their texture on the bottom says, the Carolina Hurricanes are selling round tickets already, promoting it on Instagram. And they framed this one on the wall Friday night at UBS Arena. So that right there, Tom, as you know, this was the death sentence for the Buffalo Bills when they lost to the Bengals in round 2, because the NFL kept pushing for that neutral site game with Kansas City and Buffalo, and Cincinnati took advantage of it. This is going to happen to the Hurricanes now, knowing that they just put this out.
Yeah, true story. But I will say this, though. I mean, Islanders and Carolina, that's been another fun series to watch so far. And when you look at everything that's been going on, I mean, Barzal's been having a pretty good series. Of course, you got Parise, you've got Palmieri, you've got the typical players in there.
Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson, another good player that's been having a good series. So, I mean, they've been bringing it. And it seemed like after like games 1 and 2, it was the wake-up call that they needed.
Oh, yeah. Game 4, I think, was the one that really was the one that broke the camel's back, because they played like dog shit in game 4. And then they came back and they played a strong defensive game in game 5, and Ilya Sorokin was just as good as ever. But here's my issue with the Islanders. They have the way they play is a trap system, which is irrelevant in the modern NHL now. And you can't keep that consistently. Like you could do that against teams like Columbus or like Chicago, but you can't do that in the playoffs against a team like Carolina, because they're going to find out. And then once they find out, then your system is broke, and then they're going to just come out and they just smack you in the mouth. And that's what the Hurricanes did in game 4 at UBS. And the Islanders were very lucky that they won that game yesterday, because then I think people would have been a lot harder on them. But Game 6 at UBS, the barn's gonna rock on Friday, and then Game 7 when it's posted on either Saturday or Monday or whenever it is, that's gonna be, I think, the game the Islanders win for the series. Because I did say the Islanders in 7.
Yeah, true story. And then of course, to kind of round it out, Vegas and Winnipeg, and that's actually a more interesting series than what I thought it would be.
Well, I did say Vegas was gonna win in 5.
I had Winnipeg in 7.
Winnipeg in 7. That's bold.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Are you disappointed though with the way they've been playing?
Yeah, I expected a lot better from them.
Yeah. I was just hoping Vegas would blow it, but that might not happen. That might not happen. But I mean, I'm pulling for Seattle in 7 versus Colorado. So I mean, we'll see if that pans out or not. But but it is gonna be an interesting night though, because I mean, with what we have coming up, I mean, with Thursday's games, we've got the Lightning and Maple Leafs. We've got the Rangers and Devils in Game 6, or I'm sorry, Game 5. Then the Jets and Golden Knights will play, and then Friday night we've got the Avalanche and Kraken, Stars and Wild, and Bruins and Panthers. And it'll be kind of interesting to see what happens because Linus Ullmark tried to drop the gloves the other night. So it was
I was so hoping they let him fight.
I know. I wanted to see it happen, and Ullmark was ready to throw down, and of course the refs had to get in there and stop it. But
of course they did.
Like the party poopers they are.
Yeah, they really are. You know what, though? Speaking of the refs, I'm actually glad that you brought that up because the refs in this series, not just in the Florida-Boston series, but in general, the refs in this playoffs thus far has been absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, they've been abysmal. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, it's totally inconsistent on the calls. They're either letting everyone play and just letting everything play out, or they're calling every single thing known to mankind. It's like, just let them play. Really? And if someone wants to throw down on somebody, let them throw down. You know, it's the playoffs. It should be old school hockey.
Exactly.
But I do think, to be fair, there have been some moments of brawls. Like Tampa, Toronto had 2 brawls. I think the Devils and the Rangers, I believe, had a brawl at the Garden.
Mm-hmm.
And then
yes,
there was a handful of brawls in the majority of the playoffs. So I think that's what makes it.
I was gonna say there was even some with Carolina and the Islanders the other night.
Well, that's that right there.
Yeah,
well,
especially at the end of the game too.
Yeah, the one thing that happened that was Game 3 where I forgot who it flipped him, but Martin Netches got flipped to the bench and he punched Brock Nelson out of nowhere.
And then just started the bench brawl.
Yeah, and I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. Right. But you know what?
Oh, that was a sweet hit.
Oh yeah, that was a nice one.
I want to say that was Romanov that threw that hit. I don't remember who it was, but
not often you see someone get flipped over the boards into the bench anymore. So
yeah, but what about Edmonton and LA? That series has been very on and off.
Well, I was gonna say Evander Kane scored one again last night, and that was after he took that puck to the leg in the previous game. So he still has found a way to fight through it, but. I mean, it's weird because Edmonton is scoring. They're getting the chances on there. LA's defense isn't as good as what it normally would be, but yet Edmonton's goaltending sucks. So it's like, I know in that one game, what happens, they decide to go with Campbell instead. But that series is so back and forth right now.
It really is. And all the goaltenders are just not good.
And I'm surprised McJesus hasn't done much in this series, to be honest.
Well, I think I've always preached about this. If you could shut down McDavid offensively, same with Draisaitl, or if you could shut down both of them, you have a chance.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Although Draisaitl's been showing up, he actually has scored a couple times, so.
Yeah, it feels like to me, Leon Draisaitl has been carrying the team more than Connor McDavid has. And it's not to say that McDavid isn't a bad player. He's a great player, but he can't do it all by himself.
Well, right.
No, nobody really can. But
right. And I mean, I think regular hockey fans wouldn't expect him to either, but it's just very interesting. They're shutting down McJesus, and then basically it's Draisaitl and company running the team.
That's basically it, because if you take those two out of the equation, they wouldn't even be a playoff team.
Right, exactly.
They just have, Nugent Hopkins at that point?
Yeah. Yeah, in all seriousness, it would just be him. And really after that, Edmonton doesn't have much to go to. So
Well,
Nope,
I
their
mean,
depth just isn't quite there.
no, but you know what though? Even if LA loses the series, they got a really good future ahead of them.
So many great young players.
yeah,
Absolutely.
they do. They do.
Adrian Kempe, Mikey Anderson, Quentin Byfield, Jonas Corpusalo. They got a really good up and coming team in LA, and I'm excited to see what they can do. And I remember when Rob Blake got hired, everybody shitted on the Kings, saying, "Oh, it's just another boys' club," and look what they've turned into.
Yeah, I mean, they've picked it right back up. I mean, they had a couple bad years, and then now they're here. They are in the playoffs again. So it's good to see. But I will say that Western Conference, that's a nice conference this year. I mean, they've been playing tough, and they have some great teams out there.
Definitely. I mean, again, I've said it before, playoffs are playoffs. It's going to be competitive in the first round, but it gets even tighter as the series is progressed throughout, the playoffs, and it gets harder and harder and harder. So there's no real definitive answer who wins the cup this year. Hell, the Bruins might not even win it. As good as they are, they might not win it.
Very true. I mean, stranger things have happened in the playoffs. So, I mean,
Very true.
they had the best regular season in years that anyone has seen. And then it's like, watch, depending on what happens with who they go up against. I mean, it's very possible Boston could blow it in the second round, but I don't see the Panthers winning this series at all. That's just with where they're at right now. They're not even
No,
close.
definitely not.
They're not on Boston's level whatsoever. But what I want to do, seeing that we only have about 4 minutes left in the first half of the show, I want to get on to two last things before we go into football. And the first thing I want to talk about is the NHL Global Series, because that news actually ended up coming out this week. And apparently the NHL, they're going to play some games in Sweden.
Yeah, Rob, did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
My only question about this is why are the Leafs only getting one game in Sweden when the Senators and the Red Wings are getting two?
Doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
that puzzled me as well when I read that.
Like, then what's the point? It's like, why are you even inviting them over if you're gonna just only have them play like one game? Like, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Batman, I would have the Maple Leafs play at least 2 games over there. I mean, they're going to be the draw over the other teams.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because what's it called? Because
They have more star power.
Yeah.
it's absolutely ridiculous. But what are you gonna do? But what's even more ironic is that how every one of those teams has at least one Swedish player. It's like Sweden gets all the good games, but yet Australia is stuck with fucking, LA and Arizona. That, like, why?
Still don't get the reason why they want to do that series down under.
Do they really have that big of a fan base down there?
I heard they have a really good international team.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like the whole NHL series in Australia didn't even make any sense. I mean, Sweden at least makes sense because you figure there's a good percentage of hockey players that come from there, but Australia?
What's next, Japan?
What's next? They're gonna play an NHL game in North Korea.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
Well,
I'd actually love to see an ice hockey game in Japan, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that would be interesting, actually. See
That
that
would
come
be-
up. But yeah. But then also one other thing came out, and this was actually yesterday, but the Calgary Flames have figured out what they're going to do. They're actually going to stay in Calgary, and they're going to get a new arena finally, which means that the Saddledome is going to be torn down probably by the end of the decade. And it's going to only cost about 2 billion Canadian to build that whole thing.
Rob, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm honestly surprised they got that deal done. I really thought they were going to be possibly relocated, but good for them.
Yeah, you know what? I'm genuinely surprised as well because it kind of just came out of nowhere and it just came out of left field because everybody was saying for at least 5 years, oh, Calgary's moving. If they stay, they're screwed. And if they move out, they're screwed because it's like a lose-lose situation. And the Flames, when Ken King was the executive VP in Calgary when he was alive, would always preach, we need a new stadium. We are demanding this, and this, and we want to make the city of Calgary proud by making up a mediocre team. I'm like, well, if you really care that much, stop being so stubborn and get rid of the Saddledome and just build a brand new stadium in downtown Calgary. That's the best way I could put it.
Yeah. So basically with what ended up coming out on this deal, and it's basically the same site that they were looking at. So it's going to be more central to downtown Calgary. But basically what's going to happen, it's there's no like actual like new renderings or anything that's out, but the arena itself is supposed to cost 1.22 billion, and it's going to have different things like a community ice rink. They're going to have a practice site for Flames, and apparently what's going to also happen is that they're going to do new parking, new like attractions around it, and it's also going to have a new event center next door to it. So that's all going to be connected, and apparently it's supposed to cover so they're going to have multiple teams there. The AHL is going to have the Calgary Wranglers. The WHL is going to have the Calgary Hitmen and the Calgary Roughnecks of the National Lacrosse League. So they're going to have 4 different teams in there all together, which is good. Yeah. And then on top of it, they're going to just do some other transportation improvements and different things like that. But apparently the funny thing is they voted it down the first time, and now when this one came up, they're actually paying more money for it. So it's like you could have voted it the first time and it would have been less money that you guys are shelling out. But hey, you're at least getting a new building, and you're going to get one that's like modern standards and all that. So that's all good.
Yeah, I mean, the rich get richer, right? People are going to complain regardless how much money and taxpayer dollar they're going to bitch about. You know what I mean? Because I remember, I mean, the bills are like people in New York State are paying, you know, taxpayer dollar for the new Bill Stadium when it comes out in a couple of years. I mean, I'm sure New Jersey had to do that too when MetLife Stadium was first built. The New Jerseyans had to build, you know, or have to pay extra taxpayer dollar just for the stadium.
And then you had Prudential.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know a thing or two.
Yeah, but I will say this. I mean, everyone that's complaining about the Bills spending as much as they are in public tax dollars could be worse, because Nashville's putting $2.4 billion in tax money to a stadium, so which will be the highest publicly funded stadium ever. So it could be worse, Bills fans. Hey, $800 million is not as bad as $2.4 billion. So.
Not at all.
It's like less than half.
I mean, that's a bargain compared to what the Calgarians are going to be paying for their stadium.
Well, Calgary is not as bad, but Nashville is straight up. Public's paying $2.4 billion for it. So
good luck, Nashville.
Yeah. Well, and with Major League Baseball wanting to expand to Nashville and wanting to build a stadium possibly for an expansion team, good luck.
Well, there's also talks that the Oakland A's have been sold to the city council in Las Vegas to move them to downtown Vegas and build a new stadium in northern Vegas or up in the northern region. But we'll get to them in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, there's been some fun stuff I've been reading about that. But anyways, what we'll do, it's already been a quick first half of the show. So the second half of the show, we're going to go right into football because we've got the NFL draft to talk about. So stick with us. We'll be back in about 30 seconds.
Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It's your Wednesday night uncensored, unfiltered, and unafraid sports show. You still up? This episode of Buffalo After Dark starts now.
All right, welcome back to Buffalo After Dark. So we are in the second half of the show. We got Bob, we've got the other Bob that decided. So, of course, and then Adam might be jumping on with us in a little bit, but if you do want to call in, 929-205-6099 gets you on the air. And we're also up on the Facebook chat, too. So if you want to talk to us online, you're more than welcome to. The Zoom link is up on there. And the big news that came out in the NFL, that we finally don't have to listen to Aaron Rodgers bitch about staying on the Green Bay Packers because they finally got the deal done with the New York Jets. And
hallelujah.
yeah, it only took how long? And it basically was that darkness retreat, the ayahuasca retreat, Aaron Rodgers being stoned on Pat McAfee's show a few times, and whatever else he was doing. And basically, the Jets finally got a deal done.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Rob go first. I want on his reaction. What do you think of the trade?
I'm just glad it finally went down. I was sick of hearing local radio talk about this for months. Feels a good trade on both ends. Just what concerns me on the Jets side is the compensation. I thought the compensation would be if they reach like the conference finals or something, but all Rodgers has to do is play 65% of the snaps, I think it was.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is like nothing.
65%.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a conditional first-round pick. So basically, all together, the Packers are getting the number 13 overall pick. They're getting a second-round pick and a sixth-round pick this year. A conditional 2024 second-round pick that becomes a first-rounder if he plays 65% of snaps, which we know will happen. So more than likely. So that's how it all went down. And now with the Packers, it's Jordan Love's team, and now, of course, Zach Wilson's going to be wondering, am I ever going to be a starter again for the Jets?
Nope.
No, he will never see the light of another day as long as Aaron Rodgers is there.
Right. And watch Rodgers pull off like another 2 years or something.
You know, it wouldn't shock me if he did. Because Aaron Rodgers, you know how he is, and he's been like this in the twilight years of his career, where he would bitch and moan and manipulate the media by saying, I'm thinking of retiring. Oh, I want to play next year. And then he wants all the attention to him because nobody talks about him enough in the offseason. So he stirs up drama, and this year was no different. And he finally requested a trade, and he's going to continue to be a bitch no matter what happens. But I will say, though, as far as trade-wise goes, giving up those compensations, I think, is going to really work really, really well in the Packers' favor because now you move up 2 spots in the draft, you get a second-round pick, another second in 2024, which will likely become a first, and a sixth for Rodgers and a fifth. So I think for Green Bay, depending what they do with the first pick, which is a good sign of things to come tomorrow, it's going to come down to the nitty-gritty, who exactly the Packers take, because they can't fuck this up. What I will laugh about, though, is if they do take a wide receiver, because they've been bitching about it for years with Aaron Rodgers about getting wide receiver help, and he threw a bitch fit about it.
Right. But, you know, and Aaron Rodgers has been wanting out of Green Bay for how many years now? I mean, it's been at least 5. So, I mean, he finally got his wish.
Yeah. And he also demanded a lot of money the year before that. And the funny thing about all this is the Jets have to pay him $58.3 million for the next amount of years that he's in New York or with the Jets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the good old bonus.
Oof.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's more than almost half of what Jalen Hurts is going to be making.
Oh, yeah, we covered that deal last week, the $250 million over 5 years or something crazy.
That was just absurd.
Well, he deserved it at that time. He deserved it. But if you think that's crazy, Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson both got their fifth-year options picked up, so they're going to get double the money.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy offseason next year for free agents.
Yeah, and now the Chiefs are already talking about redoing Mahomes' deal to pay him more. So it's like,
oh my God.
So it's like, okay, well, we can all thank Cleveland for starting this whole issue because of the fact that they ended up paying the degenerate Deshaun Watson all that money, and after he settled like 40-some lawsuits or whatever it was, and it's like, oh yeah, let's just go ahead and give him that, and he was suspended for like the year prior or whatever the hell it was. It's like, good job, Cleveland. You totally inflated the QB market.
Yeah, for real.
Well, the Browns are going to be the Browns, and the Jets are going to be the Jets. I think no matter what happens, Jets fans can be like, "I'm so happy that we drafted or we traded for a geriatric quarterback." And you know how they are. I honestly don't give two shits how people act about it because they always do the dick riding in the offseason. When a big name player goes to the Jets, they're like, "Oh, the Jets are going to be the AFC East favorites. Oh, they're going to come in my mouth."
No.
Oh God.
It's true though. It's
Well,
Rob and I
we know
that
Nate
first-
Hackett
It
sucks
is
as an
true. No,
offensive
you're right.
coordinator.
You're right.
I mean, it is true. Although I will say, I mean, compared to the last few head coaches, at least Saleh is actually a pretty decent coach. But I mean, Hackett is an offensive coordinator. Good Lord.
Well, the foreskin is going to be the offensive coordinator, so it makes perfect sense.
Well, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to run the entire damn offense. It ain't going to be Hackett doing anything.
Aaron Rodgers is just a white LeBron. He gets his ego boosted every single time. He's the GM, the coach, and he's the executive owner of the New York Jets now.
And they're going to finish third in the division.
Right. Well, speaking of LeBron, remember, it's like if you guys ended up watching any of that series with Minnesota, remember how LeBron got slapped in the dick in game 3?
I did not see that.
Yeah, and then that led to the ejection.
Wait, he got slapped in the dick? My
yeah, yeah. And then he's like, and then he did like an Emmy Award-winning performance on how he flopped on the floor to end up getting who was it that slapped him down there?
I have no clue.
I forget the name.
Yeah, but in either case, the Minnesota player got thrown out, so, and then LeBron just got up and was fine. So,
well, either way, no matter how you look, no matter how you look at it, though, I mean, there's no denying whatsoever that Aaron Rodgers is a whiny prima donna. We all know that, though.
Yeah. Oh, it was Dylan Brooks that actually.
Oh, Brooks, yeah, I just looked it up too.
And then he got suspended, and then he's like, whatever.
Worth it.
Yeah, I bitch slapped LeBron in the dick. I'll take the suspension.
Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing is Dylan Brooks. He's like, I ain't sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
How can you blame him? I mean, you punched the guy in the balls.
Yeah, well, I would say probably most basketball fans are glad he did that. Quite honestly.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well,
probably.
Somebody should just do that to Aaron Rodgers then. Stomp on his dick while you're at it. And so that way he's out for the year and then becomes Brett Favre and he just retires after the one big hit when he was with the Vikings.
So you want someone to pull another Albert Hainsworth where he just stomps on somebody with his cleats.
We'll just get an Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah,
right? That too. Yeah. Although it's kind of funny because I've been following this whole Brett Favre suing Pat McAfee thing, and Brett Favre's request to have the lawsuit thrown out was denied. So everything's going forward.
Sweet.
Yeah. So yeah. And the funny thing is, McAfee's got better lawyers than Favre does. So
good luck, Brett.
Yeah,
you're gonna need it.
Yep. But in other cases, so the next thing we wanted to jump into, and of course, we do have the chat open if you guys want to join us. Arizona, they have decided, well, because of Kyler Murray being irrelevant last year, it's time to introduce some new uniforms. So they have decided to come out with some new stuff. And all I can say is, what the hell was Arizona smoking?
Did any of y'all not see the new uniforms? Jesus Christ.
Oh, man.
Yeah, am I putting it up on the screen? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it'll be up on the YouTube version of the show. We have a full screen graphic of it, but oh my God, what were they thinking?
So bad.
Whoever designed that jersey should be fired from his job from designing. Seriously.
It's worse than a middle school jersey.
You turned the Arizona Cardinals into Ohio State.
Isn't it pretty bad when I can say that the Washington Commanders uniforms look better than this?
Right?
I mean, hell,
right?
Washington.
Like, how the hell is that possible?
I mean, hell, Washington's jerseys are ugly as shit, but at least they're a bit original with some of their ideas. The Cardinals are just like, you ever see that meme where it's like, okay, you can use my homework, but just don't go word for word. And they, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep, I know exactly what.
Yeah,
you're talking about.
That's what Arizona did for the road jersey and the alternate.
Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. It's like looking at it, I'm like, why? It's like, it's the jersey. It's like way to describe it is just total cringe.
Seriously.
College jerseys look similar to these.
Yeah, Ohio State being one that really comes to mind.
You think that's bad? My least favorite of the three is that stupid red home jersey they have, and it says Arizona right across the chest. As of like, wow, we're going to be totally reminded every time what state they play in.
Yeah, it looks like a 10-year-old designed it, and that's giving a 10-year-old more credit than it's worth.
Right?
You know, it looks like an Oklahoma Sooner jersey.
Oh, God.
Okay,
I mean-
great.
I mean,
Yeah.
and hell, Oklahoma is like one of the most original team jersey designs in college football, and it's just a plain whatever, and it says Oklahoma on it. I'm like, okay, cool. So, and then you look at Arizona, it's like, what the fuck do you do with that? Like, there's no designs on the shoulders, there's no design
Nothing.
anywhere. The only design in quotation is that stupid Arizona patching on the jersey, and then the Cardinals logo, which is burgundy red and white, which is bare minimum you could see on the back of the neck. It's like
And the outline
like
of the numbers, and that's it.
Yeah.
and I have a better question. Why the fuck does the black jersey exist?
It makes no sense. It's like they're taking a page out of Atlanta's book.
Yeah, they're like, we want to be like Georgia.
Yeah, except the Falcons actually have a better looking jersey than this crap that came out.
They really do.
What is up with jersey designs? Why couldn't the Arizona Cardinals just come up with something original? I think that would have been more appealing if they made up something original. But no, again, they just stole things from the Commanders, and they stole some items from Ohio State. And
So
get this.
lazy.
And you know what? I think there were better people with concept art designs of jerseys that you could spew on the internet that were better made than the one the Arizona Cardinals professionally made. Who designed that jersey anyway?
I don't know, our school dropout maybe?
I don't know. But there is one thing, if I had to pick one thing I like about the jerseys, is the helmets. I really, really like the white helmet because there's a lot of sparkle on the jersey, and it's basically a reverse color of the black alternate helmet they wore last season against New Orleans.
I mean, and the funny thing is, they really didn't have to redesign the jerseys. It's like, I mean, worst case, take the new helmet, go with the old jerseys, and there you go. They didn't have to do much to it.
Well, it's not even that. It's the fact that I've read online that a lot of Cardinals fans were pleading for them to change their uniforms for the last 20 years. And people were so excited and they were so hyped about the uniform change. And then it finally got revealed. And it's like, what is this piece of shit? Like,
yeah.
If I'm an Arizona Cardinals fan, I would not entertain the idea of, buying a jersey. And it's bad enough that you have Budda Baker and DeAndre Hopkins requesting a trade. You have an owner who is into Cheney scandals. You have an F- grading in NFL safety levels, and you have possibly the ugliest set of uniforms in the NFL.
Right. Oh, and don't forget about Budda Baker. Basically, the Arizona Cardinals are refusing to trade him, so it's even funnier.
Well, that's just dumb on them because they know that Budda is their best defensive player by far.
Yep.
Right. And then considering what might happen to D-Hop, he might be out of there by the end of the week. So who knows? Well,
it's funny you said that because I did read a rumor saying that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, particularly the Bills, are the front runners to get DeAndre Hopkins, and a trade could happen from now to the draft.
Yeah. Well, Pac-Man Jones was saying that on McAfee's show earlier, too. He's like, my sources told me he's going to one of these two teams before the end of the week.
Yeah, and it's funny because I actually want to read this to y'all because I found this before we got on the air, and I found this from NFL Notify, and there was a rumor, quote, an Arizona phone number has called the Buffalo Bills headquarters, and the two sides have been engaged in a, quote, lengthy discussion per sources, and currently all signs are pointing towards DeAndre Hopkins joining the Buffalo Bills.
Ooh. Let's see, D-Hop, Stephon Diggs is your two number one wide receivers.
And possibly another wide receiver that could be available in the first round
in the draft, yeah. And then Gabe Davis.
Easily, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, the Bills, they got a lot of shit they got to figure out. Yeah. They needed another weapon, and I think that's been something we've been preaching about since the playoff game, is the Bills needed to get another top-notch weapon for Josh Allen.
Yep. And for any Patriots fans that might be watching, you guys are not going to win anything for at least the next 10 years. So get that thought out of your head, because Mac Jones is not taking you to the promised land.
No.
Well, you have Josh Allen, a
Will he even
geriatric old
last?
man, and Tua Tagovailoa in the same division.
Yeah.
Yeah, notice how I said Tua turned the ball over.
Oh, yeah. He gets his bell rung
I
one more
like it.
time. That'll be the end of his career, as
Fuck,
short as
man.
it's been. But-
Fuck New England. And you know what? And Patriots fans are like, can we come back to the winning circle? No. You haven't won anything.
Right. Exactly.
You
Have
haven't
fun
won
being
shit
mediocre.
and you haven't won- like they haven't won shit in almost 5 years.
Right. Well, I remember you took a ton of shit when you went to the Patriots game this past season when you were in Boston. So
It's like, Jesus Christ. I mean,
yeah.
the Patriots are not going anywhere at this point with Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, and Tua Tagovailoa over in the same division.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. I don't know. I would say if he and I know I'm going to go to hell for this, but over under on how many games Tua plays before he gets a concussion this coming season.
Yeah, you're definitely going to hell.
3.
All right. I'll put it up at 5.
I'll say 7.
I'm so bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you are, Rob.
Oh,
We all know that.
Oh, we're all
Yeah.
gonna go for it. So
Why not? We might as well.
yeah, but of course, one of the other fun things that came out this week is we all know Baltimore. They're still trying to go after Lamar, and that's I don't know what's going to happen there. But of course, they decided to sign OBJ to that 1-year deal, which is absolutely insane how much money they're giving him. And of course, now he's got some violence allegations against him. And apparently, what ends up happening is that supposedly he ends up putting his hands around a woman's neck and cause some problems.
Well, who picked up on that? TMZ?
A few different spots, but
Well,
be
if it,
surprised.
apparently he was at
TMZ.
an LA hotspot and was caught doing that. So I'm like, oh, okay.
aren't you glad the Bills did not sign OBJ at this point?
Well, yeah, because we're not coughing up all that guaranteed money he's getting.
And the Ravens just dug their own hole.
I love it.
Yeah. And if they think Lamar Huntley is going to be the promised land, it ain't happening anytime soon.
Well, and plus he doesn't have a fucking contract.
Well, right. So legitimately, they have possibly no QBs.
Yeah, and they're gonna have
All right,
to watch
Huntley's
the Ravens,
gone.
and they're gonna be almost left with no choice but to watch Lamar Jackson sit out for possibly for the rest of next season, and then he goes into free agency and goes to a team that's willing to pay him what he wants.
Indianapolis, maybe?
Possibly.
Colts need a QB.
That they
Oh.
do.
At this point, I'm not sure if they're gonna do it. I think Indianapolis is sold on Will Levis, or they could be in for CJ Stroud. We really don't know. At this point, I'm convinced that I think that the only way they get Lamar Jackson is if they do not draft a quarterback in the top 5. That's the only way I think Indianapolis gets Lamar Jackson, or unless they trade the pick to Baltimore, and then they go from there.
Jackson, right?
Yeah, I know Rob over here is just like frantic in the roof about, oh my God, Lamar's leaving. Oh my God. So And for those of you who don't know,
Joe Burrow exists.
Right.
and for those of you who don't know, Rob is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Yes.
Well, at least the Steelers got a good deal on that Robinson trade. I will give them that. And it's kind of funny that the Pittsburgh Pirates are 15-7 right now. They're actually playing decent baseball for a change.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't see the Reynolds deal happening either. But
Yeah.
Didn't he request a trade though a while back?
yeah, before the season started.
Yeah.
Oh, that explains it.
Yeah. And I was going to say, and nobody knew that the Pirates were actually going to play like 100% full ass baseball this year either. So
It's only because McCutcheon is back. That's why.
yeah. I wouldn't mind actually getting down to watch a game down there this summer. Who knows? I mean, it's close enough. It's only about 4 hours from me. I could always take a drive and stay overnight or something.
It's on my bucket list for sure.
Yeah, that's one of the nicest Major League Baseball stadiums, in my opinion, just with how it's set up. But
They're
the
winning
fun.
8-0 currently.
Holy Jesus! Well, it's like Tampa Bay. Nobody thought they were going to go on the win streak that they did to start the season. They're actually playing really well, too.
Yeah, I thought they would suck. I'm still not sold on their pitching, but
Yeah.
they're finding ways to win.
Yeah.
Even though they
they
got
are.
shut out today, but
Yeah.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic of baseball, since we're discussing it briefly, my cousin, for those who don't know, is Matt Rivola. He's my first cousin on my mom's side. He's going to be doing the ceremonial first pitch on Friday's Mets game against the Nationals.
Very nice. Very nice.
Congratulations.
Or I think it's the Braves, actually. Let me double check. Pretty sure it's Washington.
Yeah. Well, the Braves play. Well, they play the Braves Friday night, but yeah, they do play the Nationals tomorrow.
Yeah, you're right. They're playing the Braves on Friday. So my cousin Matt Rivola is going to be throwing the first pitch of that game on Friday.
Yeah, Atlanta's got a pretty decent team right now too. Mets are only Mets are 14-10, which I'm kind of surprised at that start. But just to kind of fill you in, top of the seventh, it's 2-1 Washington right now.
Yeah, if the Mets could score like another run or another home run or whatever, anything to get them there, that would be huge. And I just bought a new Mets hat for my collection because my old one doesn't fit me anymore, so I needed to get a bigger size.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
that's
just
that.
picked up Senga in fantasy today.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice. So then what we'll do, since we have about 5 minutes left, let's talk about the draft because we're going to be live for it tomorrow. So, of course, if you guys want to hang out with us, you're more welcome to. But the time of the year that all of us love when we get to see who's going to be going in the draft. And, of course, Rob, you probably don't know the bet me and Bobby have for tomorrow night. So,
fuck me!
Oh, is he going to be as worse as my dad and I's bet last year?
So
Yeah.
here's what it is. So Bobby's got two players that he thinks the Bills are going to take at 27.
Yeah, I said Osiris Torrance out of Florida, and I said Zay Flowers out of Boston College.
And I'm thinking Jack Campbell. So basically what happens if either of Bobby's players don't get picked at 27, then we got him eating one of the hottest things on earth, the Vindaloo curry.
Yes.
And if one of his two players does get picked, then I have to eat it. Which I have eaten that stuff before, but I will say I had something hotter than that last night, and it made Vindaloo look like child's play almost.
So it's not as bad as it sounds.
No, Vindaloo's bad. The stuff I had was way worse.
Well, I mean, if anything, Rob, if everything goes according to plan, based on what we're talking about, you get front row seats.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I have the popcorn ready.
Yeah. Now,
Fuck
of course.
you.
Now the funny thing was, Bobby's like, when he had that the Bomb Beyond Insanity sauce, he's like, "Well, this is the hottest stuff I've ever had." It's like, that's nothing compared to what you're gonna be eating on this stuff.
Dude, have you ever eaten the Bomb Beyond Insanity? That
Yeah.
shit is hot.
Yeah, it is hot. Vindaloo's hotter.
Yeah, Rob, have you ever had it before? The Bomb Beyond Insanity?
No, I haven't.
Are you a
The
spicy
Chinese
food?
food I had last night, though, was pretty damn spicy.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
If I gave you the bottle
go
of
for Chinese food.
the Bomb Beyond Insanity, which tasted like nasty, by the way, but the spice is what really kicks in, it lasts up to almost an hour.
Yeah,
I'd
but
probably need like 2 gallons of milk just to
yeah.
rid myself of the spiciness.
I've
So
heard donuts is a good source too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So Bobby was like, "Well, the Bomb Beyond Insanity is like the hottest stuff he ever had." I'm like, "That's nothing compared to Vindaloo because that hot sauce that he had 135,600 Scoville units. Dave's Insanity sauce, the original, is hotter at 180,000. Vindaloo, 500,000.
Oh my god.
And then the stuff I had last night was even worse.
1 million?
It was closer to that because what I had from a local Mexican place, it was basically like a Diablo sauce that they ended up making, and it was like a shrimp dish. And what I ended up finding out is it said very spicy on the menu, so I didn't think anything of it because I can handle hot stuff. But then, of course, I find out it's got the Reaper, it's basically got the Serrano mixed in, and then it also has like a Boquet Jalokia. So I'm like, okay, there you go. You only have 3 out of the 5 hottest peppers on earth mixed into it, and let's just say when we had a chat last night, my face was still like turning back to normal color.
Oh no.
I was red.
Yeah, at this point, Rob, I'm convinced that he's just trying to plot up a secret murder plot to kill me.
Sounds about right.
Nah, we just want to see you go through more pain like you usually do on the Thanksgiving and Christmas specials because you usually do the hot sauce and all that stuff for those.
You piece of shit.
Well, guess what? You get to do more of that on Thanksgiving and Christmas this time around too. We have you. That's your yearly tradition. Have you do the hot sauce? So
I am going to burn my mouth with fear this year. I can tell you that for sure.
Just for our fans' entertainment.
yeah,
10 hours.
But
And Rob, just for this idiot's amusement, just to have my mouth burn up. So
yeah, and Days of Insanity
Perfect.
burned at least like 2 to 3 hours. So Vindaloo, they'll probably burn you for at least 4.
yeah. So in general, though, how do you guys feel about the draft tomorrow? And Rob, because you're new to our family, what's your final prediction for the Steelers at 17 tomorrow? Like, who do you want them to take?
I guess this is my bias talking since I'm a South Carolina fan, but Cam Smith.
Cam
I just
Smith.
think he's one of the more overlooked cornerbacks.
Okay.
And I don't want Joey Porter Jr.
Why? What's wrong with that?
I don't think he's that great, honestly. I feel there are better corners.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, I traded up 2 spots 2 weeks ago in our mock draft for the BAD group here a couple of weeks ago, and I had the Eagles take Joey Porter Jr. at 8.
Nice.
It's a good
Yeah.
Such a good cornerback draft.
It is. It's very deep this year in corners, but
Yeah.
if anybody needs a corner, it's there for the taking. But I think, though, for my final mock draft for the Bills, I could be wrong about this, but I think they're taking a wide receiver tomorrow. Even if they get DeAndre Hopkins, I think they're going to get Jordan Addis out of USC because I'm convinced at this point Zay Flowers or Jackson Smith-Njigba are all going to be out, or they're going to be taken off the board by the time the Bills, pick at 27, unless they trade up, of course.
Right. Yeah, and I'm thinking, with the Bills, yes, they do need some offensive help, obviously. They got to get bigger on that line. But I also kind of think, too, Von Miller is not going to play forever. So that's why I'm thinking Jack Campbell would be a great choice because you get a solid linebacker who's one of the top linebackers in all of college football, and he's been for a long time. He's got the size, he's got the speed, he can do all the things that Miller can do. And I'm thinking if we were to draft him and he gets to play alongside Miller and learn under him, that is like a perfect case scenario. That'll keep that defense solid for many years.
Hell yeah, for sure. But they can also get that with Gregory Rousseau. Maybe they don't even have to look that far.
Well, Russo has emerged as a good player, and I think he's going to keep getting better, honestly. So, you figure you have Russo, you add Jack Campbell into the mix, you have Von Miller. Oh, man.
I have one.
Core is going to be in great shape.
I have one. Trade 2 first-round picks for TJ Watt.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
That's what I
As I say, Pittsburgh ain't giving him up anytime soon.
Definitely not. You see how they play without him.
Yeah, they play like ass without him. He's a difference maker. I still got to watch a game in that stadium one of these days.
Yeah, and funny thing is too we also have a special announcement to make too. Rob, and believe it or not, Rob will be joining with us this year on our Buffalo After Dark road trip this year to either Cincinnati or Philadelphia.
Yep. I will just give you a heads up, man.
Awesome.
I just hope that Bobby doesn't fart in the car like he did on the way from St. Louis to Kansas City when we were in there multiple times. When he decided to shout out at McDonald's and basically make his wife pass out.
Can't be worse than my friend Kevin.
We didn't have McDonald's when we were in Kansas City. What are you talking about?
No, when we stopped off in the way between St. Louis and Kansas City on the way back from St. Louis.
Yeah, but we didn't have McDonald's. I remember this.
Didn't you stop off at McDonald's like when we stopped and like halfway through or something?
We didn't go to McDonald's.
Or wherever you ate. You were like...
We were at the Q stop. That's where we were at.
No, I'm talking about the way back that night when you were hotboxing the car.
Yeah, we were trying to go to fucking Little Caesars because I was hangry. And then all of a sudden, we're just like, oh, now I remember because I wouldn't stop bitching about dinner and we were having a long day in St. Lewis because you're like, let's just go home. Let's go back to Kansas City, guys. And then we take the car back, and then I'm just like, let's just get some fucking food, dude. We're all hungry. And then now it's coming back to me. I remember. And then I had a big flabbergas issue on the way home because I had like 2 cheeseburgers and fries and tea. And I made Tom flip the fuck out on me because I farted into the car.
Yeah, I like smacked you the one time and you fucking hotboxed the car.
You're such a drama queen because you literally go in and you're like, oh my God, what's that smell?
Well, you could have at least said something before you let it rip, dude.
Fair warning.
Yeah, there wasn't enough time to put the damn windows down.
Yep. So this year we're going to either the city of brotherly love, known as Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, or we're going to be going over to the Ohio River to see the Cincinnati Bengals.
There we go. Well, we'll find out what the schedule is too, because actually I'm debating. Do I want to take my Jeep Grand Cherokee with me, or do I want to rent an SUV or a truck? I don't know. We'll see.
Well, why don't you just take your car? It's literally like 7 hours from where you are.
I know. I just don't want to rack up a shit ton of miles on it. I mean, I got like
Fair
over
point.
170 something thousand on it.
Well, why doesn't Rob just come to New York for a few days and before we go back, and then we're gonna end up going to Philadelphia anyway? Or unless we go to Ohio, you can meet up with us or with me and Britt, and we can travel down together.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, it's all good.
But the bottom line is Rob is confirmed for the trip to Cincinnati or Philadelphia, and we'll find out the schedule in a couple of weeks.
Yep. So it'll be a fun one to see either way.
For sure.
Yeah. Although I'm kind of hoping in one way Cincinnati to an extent, just because I want to go to that I want to go down to that distillery you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's Philadelphia because Britt actually made a condition that she will only go to Philadelphia if we have a large group of people. But as far as Philly goes, we also get a free a tour to the Eagles Stadium.
Neat.
Yeah.
Shockingly, I've never been there.
Really? Have you ever? So wait, you've been to Philly, but you've never been to an Eagles game.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so I have another question. Have you ever been to another NFL stadium outside of Pittsburgh?
No. I mean, I've been outside Raymond James Stadium, but never on the inside.
What about MetLife?
Well, yeah, of course I've been to MetLife.
Yeah, MetLife.
I was gonna say, you live in
old
Jersey.
Giants Stadium.
Right. Yeah. No, I've been outside Raymond James also. That was actually, I had my, this was actually back in 2010. I was in Tampa. I had my neck surgery down there, and I actually stayed right by there. So that was, I mean, nice stadium, but hotter than hell during the first part of the season there, but it's all right.
Yeah, August, September is not fun in that area.
Mm-hmm.
What, in Tampa?
Yeah, that's when it's the hottest.
Yeah. And total humidity, and there's no shade in that stadium whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
What, to see a Lightning game or like a Buccaneers game?
Oh, Bucks.
And race. No, wait, no, race are indoor. My bad.
Yeah, their new stadium's gonna be indoors too. Well, I guess the Rays are getting a new stadium, but
so wait, you've seen the Bills, the Bucks, and the Chiefs.
I never saw the Bucks. I've never been inside Raymond James. I've been by the stadium.
Oh,
I stayed near it because it's like halfway between downtown Tampa and the airport.
So Kansas City's the only one you've really been to that's outside of Buffalo.
Yeah, it's the only game it's the only, Arrowhead and Buffalo, I mean, are the only two stadiums I've actually been inside for games. Now I've been in Pittsburgh many times, and I've been by their stadium. I've just never been in it.
Yeah, for me, I've been inside, obviously Buffalo. I've been to MetLife Stadium. That's obvious. We went to Kansas City together. We went to Arrowhead. And then recently we went to Gillette Stadium, me and my wife, where we went to see my sister-in-law because she lives outside of Boston. So we went to the Bills-Patriots game back in December. That was a fun game. And I went to a Boston Bruins game in December.
Yeah, I mean, now I will say with Pittsburgh, though, I've been to PPG and I've been to the old Igloo. So, I mean, I've seen the Pens play there a few times, actually. But I actually got to see Sidney Crosby drop the gloves in one game. That was actually amazing.
Ooh, that's rare.
Yeah, it was against the Minnesota Wild. I remember that.
Yep. And
Ali Mata's first NHL goal.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. And Rob actually just came down to see me a month ago for the Islanders game.
Hey, that's my first time at a UBS arena.
Yeah, and you were just like, I love it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd still have to get in that new building one of these days. I know I've been in the old barn once, but
Well,
But
the
I
old
still have to
Coliseum.
get down there at some point.
Well, the Coliseum is like it's just special and unique on its own. Like everybody says, oh, it's a dump, but it's not. It's just people who say that are just following a narrative. It's very different when you go inside the building at that point when it was available. But UBS though is really nice, and it's a nice upgrade. And they're going to tear down the Coliseum eventually, and then they're going to turn it into a private, privately funded casino in that region where the Coliseum was.
I've heard now they're just building around the Coliseum, but I don't know. Things can change.
Yeah,
Obviously, yeah.
It's like the old Memorial Auditorium here in Buffalo. I mean, when that was torn down, I mean, I saw a ton of games in that place. Absolutely loved it. Way back, and of course it had the shorter than regulation ice, which was kind of interesting. It was only like instead of 200-foot ice, like it was only about 185. So yeah, it was one of the teams that did not have a full size ice rink until 1996. So it was a less than regulation size ice. And then when the KeyBank Center opened, they went to a regular full size ice rink, but it was actually like slightly narrower, and it was like slightly like less long too, so slightly shorter. So that it just the way that building was set up, literally like everything, like even the upper deck was so like overhanging so close to the ice where it was just like perfect to watch. It was also steep as hell too. It was like literally it felt like you were gonna fall forward, like just walking down the stairs, like going down. But I mean, a lot of good memories in that building. But yeah, actually what they're doing now, they finally got a developer and they're gonna redevelop that last block of Canal Side. So we're not gonna have a hole in the ground much longer, which will be nice.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah, so within about 2-3 years, we should see the last piece of development go in, and everything should be good.
With what? The odd?
Yeah, they finally picked the developer, so they're actually gonna do some. They're supposed to have some apartments down there. There's gonna be some shops, some restaurants, and things like that. It's gonna be all mixed use.
There you go. So it's probably going to be like that for the Coliseum. Once they're get a deal in place with Nassau County, they're going to build it into a privately funded casino, which is going to bring in a lot of money and job opportunities and stuff like that. So
And traffic.
Lots and lots of traffic, especially if you've ever, because Tom's been there. So if you go look at the map of the old Nassau Coliseum, it's a big parking lot. So you have the Coliseum in the middle stamped, then you have the Marriott, right? And then behind the Coliseum, and I showed you this, Rob, when you came down, was Nassau Community College.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then Eisenhower Park. Yeah, and then the Northwell Ice Center in Eisenhower Park. So they're all connected. And, of course, Borelli's being in the middle of all that. So, and, of course, I forgot one mentioning of this, Hofstra University is right next to it, which is too perfect because that's a load of traffic, too.
Mm-hmm.
So you have NCC, Hofstra, Borelli's, the Marriott Hotel, and the new casino resort being built by the Coliseum.
I will say the one thing I don't miss from when I was down there in 2019 is getting my rental car at JFK and driving out to the island and back.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's a bitch.
Yeah, and a brand new rental car, and I almost got sideswiped on the way bringing it back. I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh,
no.
Yeah, New York drivers are not the best. I apologize about that.
It was funny. I was in the center turn lane turning left, and then some guy just starts to like weave in and like almost like take off the side mirror. I'm like, oh, please don't do this. I don't want to lose my deposit.
Yep.
Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York drivers, we all suck.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm used to Pittsburgh drivers. I've been there. I actually had an apartment there, so
yeah,
and I might be going back there. We'll see.
Yeah, and you both went to Jones Beach.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, you both went to Jones Beach, and yeah, Tom, you got to come down for a game at UBS, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I mean, depending on how things work out, I'll have to do it. I mean, and eventually, I want to get down for a Mets game too. So, we'll see how that works out.
I owe you that as well.
I do love Citi Field.
Yeah, Rob's been to Citi Field.
You took me there too. I just haven't actually seen a game there, but we were on the outside of it.
Yeah, but depending on what happens for the Bengals-Eagles games this year for the Bills, we'll find out. But I'm very confident that we're going to be going to one, if not both. I mean, if it was just me and my wife, we'll definitely be able to pull it off. But if it's one of the two cities with the five of us, including Adam, on the trip, then we'll be able to, get a group picture and stuff like that and share the experience together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true.
Because the more I think about it, the more excited I am about the trip.
Right. Yeah, it'd be a fun time to do it, and either city. I mean, regardless of what we do. So
Yeah.
So all's good. But yeah, as I say, we went a little over. Anyone want to end out with any final thoughts?
No, I'm good.
Just want to point out it's now 3-2 Florida.
Yep, 3-2 Florida.
Okay. Wow, they actually are fighting a little bit. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm telling you
right
right now, if the Panthers win this game and they win Game 6, I know that's just wishful thinking, but if they win Game 6, oh man, watch out! If that goes Game 7, if that goes 7 games, I'm gonna say this now: Florida Panthers win it.
You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're about to win possibly 2 games in Boston. So
What is with home teams not playing well in these playoffs?
what the fuck?
Reminds me of the Boston Red Sox, the curse of that Bambino.
Yeah, that's right.
It only took them 80-something years to finally get that World Series title.
Yeah, for real.
And Big Papi when he was in his prime.
Yep.
But anyways, but that being said, I mean, I don't really have too much else. Just glad our friend Sophia's doing good. So, just hang in there, keep that fight going. You're gonna ring that bell soon. And other than that, let's call it a night. So nice to have our friend Rob back for first time in a while.
Thank you. Feels good.
Yeah, nice. And you'll be back going forward. So good to have you here. I know Adam wasn't able to jump on, but I know he wanted to because he was looking forward to seeing you come back and roasting you a little bit. So there is always next.
Oh, they'll probably happen tomorrow.
Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Adam, I'm telling you right now,
smoking his weed tomorrow night.
Adam's gonna be so fucking stoned tomorrow because I don't know if you saw the draft video we did a few weeks ago. He's like, fuck Bryce Young, tiny ass hands. He's a midget. Fuck him. Give me CJ Stroud.
Well, he also said the same for Kenny Pickett when Pittsburgh drafted him. So.
Yep, I lost the bet
hands.
because of that.
And then he's like, oh, in our mock draft, the Panthers are taking Kenny Pickett.
I wish they did. I would have won money.
You don't like Kenny Pickett?
No, I'm not a fan, honestly.
So, yeah, but
we'll save that for another day, though.
Yeah. I'm betting what's going to happen tomorrow night. Adam will be baked by pick 4.
Did the Bruins just tie it?
I didn't. Nothing on my end.
Nope, it's still 3-2.
Yeah. So actually, here I'll throw one question out before we wrap up. How many draft picks do you think it'll take Adam to get completely high and baked, or the over under? Because I'm saying over under. I'm setting it at 4.
I'm gonna say 1 because I'm gonna say 1 because he does not want Bryce Young.
3 pending whatever happens in the Lightning Maple Leafs game before the draft.
Wow.
Because that starts at 7.
Well, yeah. if it helps you out, a little bit better, Rob, if it makes you feel better, he's throwing his shit about Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and every other not geriatric, but other mediocre quarterbacks the Panthers have had in the last 5 years.
Oh, this should be a fun night tomorrow.
Yeah.
And yes, I am wearing my Bills jersey tomorrow.
All right. Good.
You got your Steelers jersey ready to go, Rob, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, am I going to wear a sweatshirt? I'm like, no, Jersey.
Yep. Got my Josh Allen 17 jersey right behind me that I can throw on, so it's all good to go.
Don't know what jersey I'll wear yet, but...
We're also supposed to find out about the new Panthers uniforms tomorrow.
Can't be worse than Arizona, right?
I hope not. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, seriously. But, yeah, on that note, yeah, we did about half-hour overtime, so it's all good. We got it in for the week. So that being said, we'll be back tomorrow night. We'll jump on probably between 7:30 and 8. So of course, join us for that. Of course, we'll have the call-in line hooked up tomorrow too. So if you want to give us a shout during the draft and chat with us, you're more welcome to. But other than that, for both Robs, take care of yourself and each other. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Yep. See you tomorrow.